What's up, everybody? I have some updates from the road. Right now, I'm in Prineville, Oregon, which is kind of like central east Oregon, and very beautiful area. But I'm out for work and got some updates from the machine shop. So they are saying crank looks amazing, bore actually looks amazing. The block is 60 over. They say it actually all specs out within a thousandth of an inch. So it just needs a good honing, and we can basically be putting pistons and rotating assembly back in after micro polishing the crank. So he gave me a price on all that, including a roller cam setup. We talked a little bit more about specific details we want to go ahead and do with it. So we've got some of those little things to work out to finalize exactly what we're putting into it. But we're going to go with the factory 11-to-1 compression ratio. The 60 over is actually going to take the displacement from 302 to about 311. And then I have dart cylinder heads that I already have in mind that I'm going to run. They're already set up spring and rocker wise to accept up to a 620 lift cam. We're not going to be that extreme, but we're going to be pretty extreme because we're trying to push that RPM limit really high. I want to see 8,000, 8,200 easily out of that motor. Not to say beggars can't be choosers, because I'm not begging for it, but we have some traction there. As far as timeline, as far as it getting done, not quite sure yet, but working all some of those details out. I emailed Church Boys Racing and explained to them, like, hey, I unboxed the rack and pinion kit I ordered. It looks like there's a casting flaw in the rack itself inside the bushing hole. I plan on tracking this on road courses and have concerns. I would like assurance that this won't be an issue or for a new rack to be sent. Also, the instructions use a different style rack mount compared to what is in the instructions, as well as the billet steering arms. The instructions show a CBR engraving where the ones supplied just say USA, and the steering arm runs in the disc brake backing plate I have. I'm using a first-gen Camaro, second-gen Nova disc brake setup on factory SS Nova spindles, the V8 spindles. Would you suggest utilizing a spacer and cutting threads for the tie rod ends to be the same width of the spacer, or are the steering arms incorrect, and sent photos? He says, good morning, Mitchell. I've contacted Detroit Speed. I will get an answer back this morning. The second-gen Nova and Camaro disc brake is not correct for the cars. This will push the wheels out 5/8 per side. If you're running a serious race car, this is not going to be the kit for you. Additionally, the backing plate is an issue with steering arms with those particular kits. You do not want to space the steering arms. This will result in a not so favorable steering Ackerman, which is needed to keep you fast on track. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I said, I appreciate your response. Sorry if I'm asking a redundant question. Will it still push it out 5/8 inch if it's on the factory spindles? And he says, Mitchell, track days. Please explain, drag racing or autocrossing? I said, autocrossing and 1.5 to 2 mile tracks periodically. He says, Mitchell, you will not be happy with a manual rack doing autocross and road course. I think you should upgrade to the power rack. I said, I appreciate the tip, but I wish to solve the current issues before we talk about anything else. I understand why the billet. I'd like to understand why the billet arm is contacting the backing plate, as I'm still using the 64 factory spindle. Why the arms don't match what's described in the instructions, as they are not engraved with the CBR as instructions say, but say USA, and are these the right spec? And if the rack is going to be usable or not before I start reversing any decisions that I've made. To this point, I don't have any answers, so I'm not going to make any other decisions until I have an understanding of what needs to be done to fix this stuff. The first decision that will probably happen is a different brake system first. The entire concept of the car I'm building is more of a road course and autocross, running as lightweight as possible. Says, hi Mitchell, the steering arm contact the backing plate because they want to share the same space. No duh. I understand they're trying to share the same space, and that's why they come in contact. It's called interference. Two different pieces of matter cannot occupy the same space. Duh. I did not appreciate this response, but my arms are not designed to work around that kit since it is not the correct setup for the early 62 to 67 Nova. He says not the correct setup for 62 to 67 Nova, but he doesn't specify what that setup is. So, he says the arms say USA because they made a design change for better geometry to accommodate power or manual racks and only having one part number. Your current arms are correct. Manual racks are more for drag racing and simple cruising around. Using our manual rack on a road course would end up making it hard to turn quickly for the turns and maneuvers. If I had that rack here, I would put it on my own car. The bolt and bushings would be applying pressure in a compression situation which would not pull the casting apart. With that said, I would gladly give you credit towards the power setup if you decide to go that route. If you want a replacement manual, you will need to send it back to us to return a new one for you. Regards. So I said, I appreciate the info, and I hate taking up too much of your time going back and forth. I'm sure there are things you'd rather be doing than this. My first question would be, what brake systems were the rack and pinion built to accommodate? I appreciate you clarifying the steering arm is not the issue. What is the price difference between the manual power rack? I'm contemplating this, but I have bigger concerns over solving the brake issue first. So I appreciate some of the responses, and I also don't appreciate some of the responses. Like, honestly, that first line of that last email sounded very sassy, to put it simply, and it frustrates me to no end because I didn't get the answers were not necessarily completely clear step by step. It took a little bit of digging to get to, and in the end, like, I like the products. I mean, I've spent like $7,000 with them or somewhere in that range so far, and still have plans to spend more by eventually upgrading to the modular front subframe. But, like, come on. I know I'm not your biggest spender. I know you've got shops that you want to supply. You guys have your own shop that you're trying to do, or that you do, and you guys do a lot of work out of. You got other big money people buying all of your stuff and potentially all at once in the process. So I'm not the big fish, but, like, let's get down to business. Let's find some solutions so you can have a customer moving forward with their project, and you can have a customer moving forward. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, and hoping to get some answers more concrete so I can spend more money. My wife and I actually just paid off her student loans. We got back from Italy and we're looking at some stuff, some money we didn't spend, and so I was like, let's go take care of this. Let's pay off these student loans. It was a good amount of money. Put a big dent in our bank account, and so I'm a little tighter on money than I was a couple weeks ago, and so now all this stuff is going to have to cost more money, and so it was a little bit stressful at first, but honestly, if I just take things at a step at a time, like, it'll get there. In 2 weeks, I mean, I'm excited. My wife, for my birthday, did get me at Las Vegas Motor Speedway 7 laps driving a GT3 RS on their track with, like, simulator and instruction and stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that in a couple weeks, and I'm super stoked to do that. GT3 RSs are my dream car. Not the 991s, which is what they have, but the 997s. I've driven those before. I've driven every generation of GT3 except 992. Just love the cars, but can't afford them. And so we're gonna go do that, and maybe I'll vlog that one as we're going along. But yeah, thank you guys for subscribing and paying attention to what's going on with this project and riding this out with me. Sorry if I seem a little disgruntled by these emails, but we're making progress a little bit at a time, and I hope to just be back to work on the car and get things done. Life is stressful, but working on car projects seems to help a lot, and just being home with my wife. So, anyways, take care. God bless. If you're not subscribing to the channel and you like what's going on, feel free to subscribe. I feel redundant asking that, but I don't know. Have a great day.